Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf. If you already follow me on Instagram, you've probably got a teeny weeny insight into what is coming up in today's video. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you want to, I do little makeup tutorials on Instagram throughout the week. I also post photographs of makeup in natural lighting, and I also give little hints as to what is coming in future videos on YouTube. So if you want to follow me on there, it's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. So last week I posted a photograph of me at YSL with Fred Letailleur. He is absolutely amazing. If you have never heard of him before, he is an absolute magician in the makeup world. He is the European makeup artist for YSL. He travels the world doing masterclasses for everybody for YSL, and he also does photo shoots with the likes of Cara Delevingne. So he is extremely talented. He has over 25 years experience in the whole makeup world, 11 years working for Armani, and now for a number of years at YSL, and it was a pleasure to meet him. Bundle of energy, really enthusiastic about the brand, got me to really fall in love with the brand of YSL, gave me a few insights into how they came about in the first place and their whole ethics of empowering women with makeup and clothing. And I just felt just completely in love with the brand by the time I left. He also turned me round because there are certain products that I've tried by YSL in the past that I thought were pretty one-dimensional. They were okay, there's nothing wrong with them. But he showed me ways that I could be using them to make them so much more versatile. And I'm going to pass on the wealth of knowledge today because I think, knowledge is power, and I want to share it with you. So Fred got bonus points for me before he'd even opened his mouth and before the class had actually started, because at the front of the class was sat a model that he was going to apply all these products to show us his tips and tricks. And that model was not one of your usual 21-year-old perfect skin models that didn't actually need to apply any makeup to her face. Oh no, this was a mature lady, probably in her late 50s, who had all the problems that come with having mature skin. So she got open pores, she'd also worried about fine lines and wrinkles, she'd also got a scar that went all the way from the bottom of her ear to the front of her neck, which she was very, very self-conscious about and really wanted to cover up. And she spent ages using stage makeup to cover this up on a daily basis. So as you can imagine, I was seriously impressed with the model that he'd chosen, because I've said so many times on my channel, I do believe that the over 35 category get completely disregarded in the makeup world. A lot of products are catered for the under 35s, and I just think it's wrong. But not by Fred. Fred wanted to be completely inclusive, and that's why he chose this particular model, who, by the way, did not need any makeup. She really didn't. She was a beautiful, beautiful lady. But I knew from the model that he chose that he had every confidence in the products that he was about to use, and he also had every confidence in his own ability as a makeup artist, that he was going to make this lady feel $1 million by the time that he'd finished. So he had loads of tricks and tips up his sleeve, and like I said earlier, he has the ability to completely change your mind about a product. So let's jump in. So let's just talk about the YSL All Hours Foundation Stick. Now, I've used this on my channel before. In fact, I've reviewed this on my channel before in direct contrast to the YSL All Hours Liquid Foundation. And it was a perfectly pleasant foundation stick, as most foundation sticks are. It goes on quite dry, you buff it out and it dries into more of a powdery finish, and it is quite a dry product, and to me it was very one-dimensional. It was a lovely product, but I never reached for this on a daily basis, and because of that, one of B's friends, who's actually a teenager, she's at comprehensive school, came round to the house probably about a month ago, and I gave her loads of products that I was never going to use again, or that I never reached for, and this was one of them. And Fred managed to get me interested in this product. He's taught me lots of different tips and tricks on how to apply this product, which makes this far less one-dimensional and far more versatile. So I'm going to share those with you today. And also you might recognize this product because I very recently reviewed this on my channel and I didn't like it. This is the Touche Eclat High Cover Concealer. It's the updated version of the original Touche Eclat, which didn't have any coverage whatsoever. So the original Touche Eclat was basically just a highlighter and it reflected the light away from the areas that you wanted to conceal, but it didn't actually conceal anything with any coverage. This, however, has coverage in it. It's definitely not high coverage. I really didn't like this. I found that it creased. I didn't have very many nice things to say about it, and I was quite vocal with Fred about this because I wanted him to know my opinions on different products that he was showing that day, and he was absolutely fine about it, which made me respect him even more. But he wanted to show me different techniques of how I could be using these in a completely different way. Okay, so let's just jump straight into Fred's tips. The first tip that he gave us was, don't use makeup wipes to cleanse your face in the morning. It doesn't matter what they are, they've all got an ingredient in there which makes your skin go red and it irritates the skin, and it's also really bad for the environment, which he went into, which I won't go into here, but you know, we already know that. So don't use makeup wipes to take off your makeup or to take off any grime first thing in the morning before you apply your makeup. The second tip he said was never ever bypass skincare. Now, you know I'm a big advocate for this. Seriously, do not skip skincare. Take care of your skin and everything else will follow. So he did add a serum to the skin. Now I'm going to use a little bit of a tester that he gave me. The YSL products are really, really beautiful if you can stretch. And my budget will not stretch to the YSL skincare. So I'm going to use some of their serum, which actually tones down redness. And he used some on this lady who was his model. I can't remember her name. I really wish that I'd got her name. Anyway, he used some on the lady at the front of the class, and you could see her redness just disappearing after he'd applied this serum. Magic. And it does make the skin feel absolutely beautiful, but again, it's super, super expensive and there's no way that my budget will stretch to it. So once he'd applied skincare, he talked through his next tip, which was all about foundation. Now, he did say that we spend far too much time on foundation. Foundation isn't the key thing that everything should surround where makeup is concerned. He thinks that foundation should be a lot simpler, which is why he likes the stick foundation rather than faffing with a lot of liquid and having to blend things out really, really aggressively on the skin. So his favourite is the YSL stick foundation. Now this is the YSL All Hours stick foundation that I've mentioned earlier on, and he had the same opinions about this as me. Thought it was very dry, thought it was a little bit cumbersome to use. He really liked it, there's nothing wrong with it, but he did think the consistency was quite dry, but he had a tip for that. So another product that they do at YSL, and you don't have to use this particular product, you can use whatever you've got to hand, whatever skincare you've got to hand. They have a moisturizer that's very serum-like. The consistency isn't a stiff consistency. It's a really beautiful, thin, nourishing, hydrating consistency. And it's a little pink colour, and I've got a little sample here of it. Really nice, but again, very, very expensive, and I cannot stretch to that. So it's on the back of my hand at the moment, and what Fred did was he took the YSL All Hours foundation stick and he applied a little bit of the moisturizer to the top of the foundation stick, which I was like, what is he doing? Why is he not applying it straight to the skin, which I've seen it do on numerous occasions. Everybody applies the foundation stick directly to the face. Not Fred. So he took his foundation brush. I'm using the 103 Define Buffing brush from Zoeva. He used a YSL brush, obviously, and he used a flat brush actually, but I prefer more of a kabuki brush, more of a stippling brush. And he just mixed that product in to the foundation creating more of a creamier, more hydrating consistency. And then he started from the middle of the face and he worked his way out. So he didn't need to keep going back to the stick numerous amounts of time. He just started in the middle of the face and made sure that he blended everything outwards, which I don't do very often. I usually put a layer of product all over the face. But by doing it this way, you actually avoid that line of foundation that you can sometimes get if it's not a direct match to your skin tone. So once you've got it in the center of your face, that's when you start blending it out to the edges. And you never actually need to get it to your skin, to your hairline. Just blend that out nicely. So as you can see, that's just a really natural finish. This is by no means a full coverage, but it's just really evened my skin tone out and given a really natural glow. Now, I wouldn't have got that natural glow had I used this stick as it's meant to be used, just applied directly to the skin, giving it that matte, powdery finish, which is beautiful for a lot of people but very one-dimensional. So by applying the moisturizer or a serum to the actual stick itself, you're giving yourself that double whammy of hydration throughout the day. So you're not only applying the hydration to your skin before you apply your makeup, you're also applying it with your makeup as well. And the hydrating aspect of it just gives this beautiful sheen on the product, which makes this far more versatile than it was before. But I'm going to show you another tip that he gave me because he's just amazing and I've got to share these tips with you. He's just a lovely, lovely man. Okay, so regarding concealers, Fred didn't actually use the Touche Eclat High Cover Concealer. He chose to use the original Touche Eclat instead. He could have used this one, it was on the stand, but he's a lot more comfortable using the original Touche Eclat because he knows how versatile it can be and he knows exactly how it applies. So he's more comfortable using the original Touche Eclat, which is basically just a highlighting pen. So I'm going to be using my Touche Eclat High Cover today on one side just to get that extra bit of coverage, but I'm also going to be using the MAC Prep and Priming Light Boost, which is practically the Touche Eclat. It's the Max version of the Touche Eclat. I don't have the original Touche Eclat, so we're going to use both of these today. So the tip that Fred gave everybody on this masterclass was again to use the YSL All Hours foundation stick. And what he did, he got the original Touche Eclat and he pumped some out and he popped it on the top. So I've got some of the product on the top of the foundation stick. Then he took a concealer brush and he dabbed into both of those products. So he's got the foundation stick for coverage and he's got the Touche Eclat for illuminating underneath the eye area, which is just genius. No idea why I didn't think about this myself. I usually apply two different things, so I apply the illuminator and then I apply concealer on top. This is just another way of making the stick far more versatile and super high coverage. Super high coverage. This is also another way of making the Touche Eclat High Cover, which is the product that I didn't like, dry down a little bit more because it's mixed in with the foundation stick, which dries down to much more of a powdery finish. So this helps it to set in place a lot quicker and you don't need powder. On that subject, by the way, Fred did not powder any little bit of his model's face. He never used powder and he went straight into doing contour and blush without powdering the cheeks. So that's the coverage using the Touche Eclat High Cover as well as the All Hours foundation stick. I'm just going to use a little bit of the MAC Prep and Prime in Light Boost, just to show you what the coverage would have been if I was just using the original Touche Eclat. So it's on the end of that, and I'm just going to mix those two together. Pat off the excess like I always do, and just apply that underneath the eye. So again, really good coverage, really good coverage. So I actually gave my stick foundation away because I thought I'd never use it again, and after the masterclass I went and bought another one. Great. So that's both sides completed. This is the Touche Eclat High Cover, and this is the Illuminating Pen in Light Boost from MAC. I actually prefer this side. I think it's sitting better on my skin, but both sides don't need setting in place because the aid of the foundation stick has really allowed everything to be set in place without the use of a powder. So I love that tip. And this has become such a versatile product in my eyes. I'm not saying I'm going to reach for this on a daily basis, but when I need a little bit more coverage underneath my eyes, I might reach for this as a concealer rather than a foundation. I also love the natural sheen that this has given me mixed with the moisturizer. So that's just a tip that I wanted to pass on to everybody because it's something that I'd never thought about before. Duh. Anyway, I think it's invaluable for anybody that wants that more dewy finish. Maybe they've got this in their drawer and they never use it. Maybe they've got another foundation stick in their drawer and they never really use that either, or never really pick that up to use. Maybe you will now. The last tip that I'm going to share with you is about the cheeks. I'm not actually going to show you, I'm just going to pass this information on because I feel like I've said this plenty of times before in previous videos. Fred gets really frustrated when women spend far too much time on their foundation. They get a completely blank canvas and then they forget to put all the dimensions back in their face. You can make yourself look 10 years younger with the tiniest bit of contouring and a bit of blush, just to make yourself look fresh and youthful and just define those cheekbones just that tiny little bit. So try and spend more time on your blush and your contouring than you do on your foundation, because basically foundation is just to wipe everything clean, and it's the putting everything back in place that's really important. If you want me to do a video surrounding that topic, because it's far too long-winded for today's video, but if you want me to do a video all about that, then please do let me know and I'll be happy to do that for you. But I hope you found this video interesting and useful today. If you have, please do give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. There is a watermark in this corner. If you click on it, it will take you through to my homepage where you can subscribe. Hope to see you all again soon. Bye!